Hey, what's up, peeps? It's your boy PC Williams coming to y'all live again on a great Monday. Hope everybody had a great weekend, had a great day at work. So let's talk some sports. So apparently there's trouble in paradise. There's a there's a quarterback controversy going on in Alabama. Everybody's pretty much like made their mind up that Tua Tagovailoa should be the starting quarterback for Alabama this year. That's a fair opinion, but at the same time, gotta look at it from both sides. I look at it how I look at it. This is 1K Sports, unfiltered, uncut, unbiased. So I gotta keep it real. I understand everyone's perception that it should be Tua Tagovailoa, but I think we gotta look at it from both sides of it. We can't just look at what he did in the championship game was great, but we can't just anoint him because of one half. In a game where no one saw him coming into. So, but Jalen had made some comments this week saying that he felt he was slighted in this whole little process. People putting words in his mouth and saying he said this, and his dad saying that he's going to transfer if he don't start. So, I understand where he's coming from. I think Jalen has every right to feel that he was wrong because hey, despite his deficiencies, he was a pretty good quarterback. So that all in itself, just looking at the battle between him and Tua Tagovailoa, whoever you go with, whichever quarterback you go with, you're taking the risk. It's a double-edged sword for both of them. Me personally, I look at Tua. He's the kind of quarterback. He's high risk, high reward. He's got a great arm. He's a gunslinger. Gonna make all those throws. He makes Alabama's offense, unstoppable. He easily is, from a talent standpoint, the best quarterback Nick Saban has ever had. So on the surface, yeah, he's more talented, has a better arm. But, watching the championship game, I saw some flaws. I saw some rookie flaws. He took a bad sack. As you remember, he threw the game-winning touchdown to Devontae Smith, but the previous play, he took a 16-yard sack and kind of put us in that kind of backed us up and had it kind of dicey there for a second. And earlier in that game, he had a rollout play where he's supposed to run, and he threw it. No one was open. No one saw it being thrown, and he threw an interception. Just, gave them the ball. So those kind of things do worry me. I feel like Alabama's always had, game manager type quarterback. So not the blue chip number one guy in the country type quarterback. They've always went out and got, AJ McCarron's and, John Parker Wilson's, Blake Sims, Jay Coker, guys that fit the mold, run the ball, play defense, don't turn the ball over. And that's what Jalen has been. Jalen is very explosive, has the wheels, can take off. He does have an arm, not accurate at all. So, like I said, with Tua Tagovailoa, it's high risk, high rewards. Great arm, very talented, but can take some risks. With Jalen, he's slow and steady. He's right on schedule. Not gonna turn the ball over, not gonna put you in bad position, but at the same time, he's gonna struggle. He's gonna not. The big play won't be there all the time in the passing game. There's gonna be some passing plays where guys are wide open, he can't hit them. And that is a problem. Because, with a great defense and a great running game, you still need a quarterback that can make about 5 or 6 throws a game that can win you that game. And Tua can make those throws. Jalen hasn't really proven they can make those throws just yet. So, but me personally, I feel like this decision on who's going to be quarterback, this will be the biggest decision of Nick Saban's career. Not defining his career, because his career is pretty solid. I think he's the greatest college coach ever, me personally. He's got 6 rings, 5 at Alabama, 1 at LSU. But he's still in that Bear Bryant shadow. Bear Bryant did win 6 championships. Well, a little controversy over him. Was he awarded a couple of them? A couple of them he did win. So overall, he got 6. So I think Nick Saban was a better coach than Paul Bear Bryant. But this, Another championship ends the discussion. One more championship and the discussion is over forever. So this is a big decision of his career, and it's crazy. The guy's won 6 national championships, and he's just now making a big time decision like this. So it's going to determine a lot because if you start Tua Valoa, Tua Tagovailoa, then you have 3 years with him, and who knows with the talent you got with coming back with Najee Harris, Joshua Jacobs, Damian Harris coming back, Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, Devontae Smith, who caught the game-winning touchdown in the championship game, a young offensive line. You got on defense Mac Wilson, Raekwon Davis. I mean, he just got a loaded squad. So for the next 2-3 years, this gonna be a team that's gonna be competing for a national championship. So whoever Nick Saban chooses is gonna be playing quarterback for this loaded team, and you don't want to pick the wrong guy. And for the next 3 years, you're behind. So for the next 3 years, I've seen it already. Georgia, Kirby is recruiting his ass off. The Bulldogs are coming. They're here to stay. So for the next 3 years, Alabama really needs to keep establishing their dominance and kind of keep Georgia away because they're coming. Georgia is coming. Jimbo Fisher's at Texas A&M now. He's coming. That squad's going to be even better. You got Mark Richt down there in Miami. He's going to have a year under his belt. His guys are coming in. So other programs are getting better. And Alabama is still the king, but for these next 2 or 3 years, who you put at quarterback could determine just how long that reign continues or if it ends right now. So it's a big decision for Nick Saban. Now, in Jalen's defense, because I did it 2 ways, I feel like Jalen has earned the right to fight for his job, but he also has earned the right to lose it. Here's why he deserves the right to fight for it. All things considered, everything in a vacuum, he's proven. 26-2 as a starter, SEC Player of the Year as a freshman. Jalen has won big games for us. We've seen Jalen in hostile environments win big games for us. He went to Death Valley at nighttime and won. That's where all Alabama quarterbacks are judged on. You remember 2012, AJ McCarron threw the game-winning touchdown pass to TJ Yeldon. He on the sideline crying, after he won because it's that serious. Like we judge Alabama quarterbacks on how they play in Death Valley, how they play in Starkville, how they play in Ole Miss, Texas A&M, how you play in Auburn. Jalen has been in those environments, and he didn't win in Auburn, but hey, it's Auburn. I haven't seen Tua Tagovailoa in Death Valley at night. I haven't seen him in Starkville. I haven't seen him in Ole Miss. I haven't seen him in Texas A&M. I haven't seen him play in Auburn. I haven't seen Tua play in these big games yet. I have seen Jalen do it. So, and you also remember, Jalen had the go-ahead score against Clemson in the championship game, was the previous one that we lost. He did score that game-winning touchdown. So, he has done things. He has won games. He has come through for us, led us to the championship twice. So he has earned. I don't think we should just take his position from him and just give it to Tua Valoa, even though what Tua did in the championship game was very impressive. It was beautiful. I mean, I watched that comeback. It was just amazing. But it's one half. Kirby didn't think Tua was going to play. Had Kirby game plan for Tua, maybe Tua make some mistakes, which he still did. So let's not just give it to Tua, even though right now he's the hot favorite for it. I think it should be a healthy competition. Let Jalen fight for his spot. Let Jalen have a chance to win it. Let Jalen get one last crack at it. And if he don't win it, then fine. He graduates in December. He transfers, still got 2 years left to play football somewhere else. Whatever. But he deserves the right to fight for his spot. Like I said, Tua, for the most part, is not proven. I've not seen Tua do all this. Jalen has 2 years under his belt. So Tua is great, but have I seen him, this year we're going to Death Valley. Is Tua ready for that? What if, first game of the season we got Louisville. What if Tua throws a pick? What if he comes out and throws a pick? We don't know. So we got to be careful how we go with this. And I think Nick Saban, he's the right guy for the decision. He's going to make the right decision for the team. Right now, I just think it should be a healthy competition. Let Tua and Jalen battle it out over a time period. Let them play it. Let them, let Jalen get first team reps. Let Tua get first team reps in training camp, and let's see how it happens. Let's see how it plays out, and then we have our winner right there. So, like I said, for the most part, because Jalen is proven to be a solid quarterback and a winner, he deserves a shot to at least fight for it. Let's just not throw him out with the bad water because he has stunk it up, and that's what I'm gonna get to. You know, he has earned the right to fight for his job, but he also has earned the right to lose it. Like I said, he has been there going on 3 years now, has not improved as a thrower. You had Lane Kiffin and Brian Daboll. I feel like Lane Kiffin did a great job of masking Jalen's, inefficiencies, his shortcomings. And I feel like, Brian Daboll kind of protected Jalen a little too much. So I feel like he's had two different coordinators, but neither one of them has been able to get him to be a better passer. And if you want to win nowadays, you have to be able to pass the ball. You got to make some throws to win some games. And I don't know if Jalen is ready to do that just yet. So hasn't improved as a thrower. I did mention he scored the game when he scored the go-ahead touchdown against Clemson, but because of his inefficiencies all night, our defense, which was the best defense Nick Saban ever had, got worn out. They played 100 snaps in that game because Jalen kept being, inefficient with the ball, three and outs. So it's like, Jalen, with the way he plays, it wears down your defense. You don't get the most out of your receivers. I mean, Calvin Ridley had 1,000 yards with Jake Coker as the quarterback. Now, I believe Jalen is a better quarterback than Jake Coker, but, you give Jalen Hurts Calvin Ridley, and Calvin Ridley, his stock in the draft kind of falls because his numbers are not the same. And I don't always blame that on Calvin Ridley. I feel like, Jalen Hurts is not a great passer, and he's not going to be able to maximize the talent around him at receiver. And you got three studs this year. You got Jerry Jeudy, Henry Ruggs, and Devontae Smith. So you got three alpha dogs that's going to need the ball, deserve the ball, and want the ball. And they want a quarterback that's going to get the most out of their talent. So I feel like the guy for that may be Tua. Or maybe Jalen is improved. Like I said, a healthy competition. Let's see if Jalen has improved as a passer. If he hasn't, all bets are off. Tua, you're the guy. We're moving forward. But if Jalen has improved as a passer, we got ourselves a real thing going on here. So it should be a fight for it. Don't just give it to Tua based on one half. Let Tua earn his spot. Let Jalen keep his. Let's give him a chance to win it. Let's not go with popular opinion here because Jalen did get you there twice. And, to his defense again, he played in a championship game against Kirby Smart, a coach that recruited him and pretty much knows the ins and outs of his game. So Kirby Smart came into that game knowing how they're going to use Jalen, how he's going to, what he can't do well, what he can do well. So Kirby came in the game ready for Jalen. He had a game plan set for Jalen. So now they're going to game plan for Tua. Let's see how he reacts when there's a game plan for him now. So I just think it should be Tua against Jalen. Let's just give it to Tua because he beat down Georgia in the second half. No, earn it. That's one half compared to 28 games. Some play in hostile environments and him winning games for us. So Jalen shouldn't lose his job over one half. So I definitely think it should be Jalen against Tua for the opportunity. But me personally, who would I rather see? As a Bama fan, I'd rather see the best guy for the job. And I feel like Tua will get the most out of us offensively. We will finally have the quarterback in the big play offense that we've kind of been searching for. We had guys like Amari Cooper and Julio Jones and, Mark Ingram, O.J. Howard, Trent Richardson. But these guys were, they could get their own. They could just go out there and do what they need. Because Julio understood, I'm not going to put up big numbers at Alabama. But I know once I get in the league, then I'll be able to take off like that. So, You got to know when you come to Alabama, you're not going to be catching 100 balls for 2,000 yards. Amari Cooper's 2014 season was an anomaly. That was Lane Kiffin finding ways to get his best player the ball. So I don't see that happening again. So, like I said, you have three legit receivers. You got a legit four running backs. You need a quarterback that's going to make these guys get the most out of their talent. And, from what I've read, the players have been, frustrated with Jalen getting them the ball. The guys love Tua. So, if you just want to say there's a favorite right now, I guess you can say Tua is the favorite. But I feel like there should be a competition before you just, gift wrap the starting quarterback. Now, you're talking about the starting quarterback for Alabama. So let's just not give that to Tua. If he, what if he goes out there and lose a game or two? Then what? So whoever Nick Saban chooses, he has to stick with it and go through the hard times that's going to come with it. So, but if I had to take my pick, I would love to say, Tua, but I would love to see Jalen get a shot to try to keep it. Keep Tua honest. Let's not just give it to Tua, because if you just give Tua this opportunity, he'll never appreciate it. Make him battle with Jalen. Make him take something from Jalen. Make him take Jalen's spot. And then Tua will appreciate this opportunity when he actually gets it. So either way, I think, competition breeds competition. So I definitely feel like this will only help both of them. If Tua wins this competition, it will make him appreciate this opportunity to beat the Alabama quarterback. If Jalen, wins it, he understands, hey, I gotta step my game up. They're gonna come for me. So for Jalen, this could be a learning lesson. Hey, I better tighten up, man, because I could lose it all right now. And for Tua, it'll be like, hey, I may be a better quarterback than Jalen, but I had to earn this. I want to earn this. So it's good for both of them, man. I think it's good for the Tide. So, hey, roll Tide, baby. So we're either going with the 26-2 starter or the once-in-a-lifetime phenom we never had at quarterback. Either way, I'm good with it, man. Either way, it's roll Tide, baby. So, well, as you all know, over the weekend, Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, Brian Dawkins, Brian Urlacher, Bobby Beathard, Jerry Kramer, and the great Ray Lewis were all inducted into the Hall of Fame. It was a great class. This particular Hall of Fame class, it means a lot to me personally, because I feel like, growing up, you see guys play. Like, by the time I got, really to an age where I could understand the game of football, Emmett was about to retire, and, Barry Sanders had retired. A lot of great players you saw growing up, were kind of toward the end of their prime. But you look at a guy like Ray Lewis, a guy like Brian Dawkins, and Terrell Owens and Randy Moss. Like, we watched these guys grow up ourselves. Like, Randy Moss came in 1998. I was 10 years old when I first saw him, man. So it was like seeing him grow up from being a young man to a legend to a Hall of Famer. You see that growth, the ups and downs, the pitfalls of it. You see it all growing up. So this Hall of Fame class in particular has a special place in my heart because I watched these guys play. I watched these guys grow up. At one point in my life, from a football standpoint, I wanted to be Randy Moss. I wanted to be T.O. or Brian Dawkins or Urlacher or Ray Lewis. So this class, was a legendary class to me. I think from a talent standpoint, probably the most talented class that's ever went in at the same time. You had T.O. and Randy Moss. You had Brian Dawkins. You had Brian Urlacher and Ray Lewis. And you had Jerry Kramer, one of the great Packer guards from back in the day, back in the 60s, that helped them win the first 2 Super Bowls. So it was a great class, man. So all in all, I love all the speeches. I thought Randy Moss was spot on with the tie, for the victims that was killed by police brutality. I thought that was a great move by Randy Moss, man. Just spreading that awareness on, taking the advantage of the platform he has. Urlacher was solid, man. Brian Dawkins, Duval County, a legend around here, man. So Ray Lewis, I mean, what more can I say? Reverend Ray, Ray Lewis definitely, I definitely expected that from him. I expect to see Ray Lewis, with that on the, just kind of being a preacher, man. But that's Ray. It's nothing phony about him. It's 100%, 1,000% Ray Lewis, man. So legendary class. Of course, you all know, T.O. didn't come. I made my feelings, known about, how I felt about T.O. in my second podcast. I felt like, his decision to hold his own private, excuse me, I felt his decision to have his own private, ceremony was kind of selfish, and I feel the same way. I feel like it was selfish, man. You gotta embrace the opportunity to come and have that moment with your brothers, man. So, and I understand that he had his issue with the writers and the sportcasters guys who kept voting him out the Hall of Fame. So, whatever, man. But either way, I feel like he should have been there. Randy Moss showed up and he still went back to his hometown and held a little private little party with a gold jacket on. So I feel like T.O. could have done that too, man. So, but all in all, it was his decision. It was his choice. He has every right to make that choice for himself. So, you know, but as far as it seemed like everyone's feeling so bad for T.O. And my thing is, hey, he made a choice. The Hall of Fame did all they could to respect him. He got his gold jacket on Saturday morning. He got his gold jacket before any of these guys got a chance to, really put theirs on for the public like that. So, T.O. got his gold jacket on time. ESPN, still found ways to air his interview or air his speech on TV. So he still got the spotlight he wanted. So either way, there's no victim here. I feel like I feel like the Hall of Fame really went out their way to support T.O. in this matter. They could have said, you'll get your gold jacket on Monday. They could have been that kind of stubborn and say, you'll get your gold jacket when you get it. They could have been that kind of, just one sided or stubborn like that. So T.O. did get his gold jacket in time. He was able to do his speech with the gold jacket on, just like those guys were. We all saw T.O.'s on first. So I don't see where he was a victim at. And as far as, the people that like Stephen A. Smith who want to just add race to it, I feel like, it ain't always about race. Let's stop pulling the race card about everything. I've had a few good friends of mine say, oh, T.O. didn't get in on the first ballot because he's black. Well, how do you explain Jerry Kramer, a all-pro, Pro Bowl offensive guard who's white and waited 45 years? So that race card about T.O. not getting in because he's black, that's BS. Stop all the damn, victim, like just quit being damn victims out there. T.O. didn't get in because they felt he was a bad teammate. The Hall of Fame process is flawed. It's been flawed for years. T.O. not the first victim. He ain't the first black victim. There are other white players that had to wait. Hawaiian players had to wait. So let's just stop all the race thing. T.O. got in. He deserved to get on the first ballot. That didn't happen. He won't be the last. So, that's just what it is, man. T.O. made a choice for himself. He had his own private, ceremony. So, it is what it is. So I respect T.O. I think, like I said, he's a second all-time great receiver behind the great Jerry Rice, right above Randy Moss. So I definitely got, I feel like T.O., it doesn't change my opinion on him as an all-time great player. I don't think T.O., this won't ruin his legacy because he's a Hall of Famer. So, you're going to have guys that are going to talk their trash about him, like, Colin Coward is going to still, say T.O. looks small and, folks think Randy was a better player. But me personally, I think T.O. was a better player than Randy Moss. I'd rather have T.O. on my team than Randy Moss. So, he made a decision. I wasn't okay with it, but I respect it because it is T.O. He has earned the right to do what he want to do. But when you do what you want to do, then you have to receive the blowback from that, which we'll get into in my next topic. So all around, man, just probably my favorite Hall of Fame class. Outside of the 2011 class that had prime time, Shannon Sharp, Marshall Falk, Richard Dent, just so many great players in that class who I also saw growing up as well. So. But this class right here, I remember Randy Moss' first game. I remember that Thanksgiving game against the Cowboys. I remember Urlacher and Ray Lewis and these guys, their first game to their last game. So this Hall of Fame class definitely is special to me because of what they all meant, for the sport and for me and how they kind of ushered in a new generation, So I definitely hats off to the Hall of Fame class 2018, Randy Moss, Terrell Owens, B Dog, Erlacher, Rob Bedford, Jerry Kramer, and Ray Lewis. Well, well, well. The Cowboys are in the news once again. No surprise, but a little bit of a surprise. As you all know, Dak Prescott, said some things that, upset a few folks, about what he said about the national anthem. Um, me personally, I feel like Dak Prescott has now become the biggest target, right now because of what he said. And I'll get into what I feel about what he said, but just on the surface of it, man, I feel like Dak Prescott by saying what Dak Prescott said, he has put a target on his back. You have to understand something. These anthem protests and Black Lives Matter, all of that. It's a sensitive topic. I'm sorry, a very sensitive topic. So you gotta understand something. We live in a very volatile time right now. So you have to be mindful of what you say. I feel like Dak's intentions were pretty good. I don't feel like he meant to upset or disrespect anybody, but but we do live in a society right now where everything you said is going to get blowback, whether it be from them or for them. It's going to be somebody's not going to like what you say. So, but all in all, Dak Prescott this year, I feel like it's so much pressure on him. I mean, number one, you're the quarterback of the Dallas Cowboys. That's like being the point guard or the center for the Lakers or being the Yankees center fielder. When you're the Dallas Cowboys quarterback, you are the it position in all the sports. So Dak Prescott already has that going for him. Jason Witten retired. Dez Bryant was let go largely because they felt like he was a hindrance to you. So, two all-time great Cowboys are going. One retired and one was kind of shown the door as a benefit or favor to you. So now you have that going for you. So you have the Dez Bryant fans like myself who's going to look at Dak Prescott this year and say, okay, Dak Prescott, you got Dez Bryant shipped out of here. Jason Witten's going. You're saying stuff about the protest. You're saying something about that. So now do something. So I feel like Dak Prescott right now, he has the world right here in the palm of his hand. And depending on how Dak Prescott plays this year, he could just become forever the biggest loser in the world, or he could really change some things because one thing about when you win, you get a lot of time to talk, and everyone just be quiet while you talk. If you win a championship, you get the post game interview, the parade. You go on different TV shows. So imagine Dak Prescott being a Super Bowl champion, and then being able to go out there and have a chance to express what he feels with just a big old platform. Like right now, he's a target. So right now, everybody, including myself, is watching Dak Prescott and saying, okay, what are you going to be? Dez Bryant's gone because of you. Jason Witten retired. The Cowboys have pretty much put everything on you. You're the guy now. So, I definitely feel like Dak Prescott, with what he said and because of what's going on already. Now, if Dak Prescott never said nothing about the anthem protest, he would still be under a lot of pressure because you're the Cowboys quarterback. And, like I said, Dez Bryant's going on account of you. So it's like everyone's watching you already. Then you throw in the anthem protest comments. It's like, okay, Dak, you want to talk. You want to say something now. You want to talk now. Okay, well, fine. But, Dak Prescott, I think you handle it. As a Cowboy fan, I pray to God he can't handle it. I hope and pray that Dak Prescott understands that when you make the kind of comments he made, you're gonna get that blowback. Now, I think it's unfair. I think it's a little bit excessive, but nonetheless, everyone has the right to their opinion. So Dak Prescott has become a target now. Usually I would say if there a Cowboy with more of a bigger spotlight than Ezekiel Elliott, but now with Dak Prescott and the comments he made, now all of a sudden Zeke Elliott and his off the field problems become just whatever. Now it's Dak Prescott and how he sees politics and race and this and that. How does Dak Prescott feel as a half white, half black man? Now all of a sudden it's a big story around Dak Prescott, when he already had the pressure of being the Cowboys quarterback on him. So I feel like this year number 3 for Dak Prescott, this will be the make or break year of his career. Whatever Dak Prescott becomes in life as a ball player for the Dallas Cowboys, we're gonna look back at this season, this whole offseason, everything with Dez Bryant being cut and the Cowboys pretty much put everything in Dak Prescott's hands. We're gonna look back at this year and say that was the year Dak Prescott became a great quarterback that year, or we'll look back at this year and say, you know what, that was the year Dak Prescott hit rock bottom and was never the same again. So with everything that's going on right now, Dak Prescott can either go completely to the top of the world or down to the depths of hell right now because of what he said. You got everybody throwing shots at him and everything like that. So every time he loses, it's gonna be memes all over the world. So Dak Prescott has that spotlight now. He has a spotlight on him now. So we're gonna see, can Dak Prescott handle that? Because now it's bigger than being the Cowboys quarterback. Now they're looking at you saying, okay, you're the Dallas Cowboys quarterback. You're the quarterback for America's team, and you got all this pressure on you with football on the field, off the field. Now so many eyes are watching Dak Prescott, waiting for him to fall. And as a Cowboys quarterback, as a Cowboys fan, I hope that Dak, takes an opportunity right now and just says, you know what, everybody's watching me, waiting for me to fail. Well, guess what? I'm gonna give y'all a show. And if Dak Prescott can go out there and win a Super Bowl, it can change a whole lot of things. It can change the perception. Now, everyone that's calling Dak Prescott all these names, now all of a sudden you gotta be quiet, and Dak Prescott gets to be on stage and say what he needs to say and get his point across and say, okay, this is what I feel, without no one, jumping all over his back. So it's a big year for Dak Prescott. And as a Cowboy fan, I hope and pray to God this is the year for him. Like I said, it's a lot of pressure on Dak Prescott right now to come through and perform this year. But I want to get into what Dak Prescott said. And I preface my comments by saying this. I'm not speaking as a Cowboy fan. I'm just merely voicing my opinion. I mean no disrespect to anyone. Whoever gets offended by what I'm going to say, I apologize. I hope I don't get called a coon or Uncle Tom for what I'm about to say. But I just want to get into what Dak Prescott said, and I just want to just offer my humble advice to the guys who protest, to the guys that kneel. I just want to just offer you a peaceful word of advice and just give you my peaceful opinion about what Dak Prescott said. Now, what he said struck some nerves. Now, I don't have the exact quote right next to me. I did look it up. It's on my phone. He said something like, well, he said, he don't feel that, the national anthem is the time or a place to protest. And, of course, that set some nerves off. People got offended by it. And, just saying, calling the man all kind of things. He was called a coon, Uncle Tom. There was a painting, downtown down in Dallas with him as a character in Get Out. So as basically being in a sunken place saying, wake up, so I feel like that was a little bit, that was very excessive. And I'm going to tell you why. Because people have this notion that Dak Prescott said what he said because Jerry Jones said what he said. And I completely disagree with Jerry Jones. I think that's the wrong way to go about it. You don't sit there and put that kind of ultimatum out there in the air like, hey, you're going to stand for the national anthem. You're going to do this. You better do this. Toe that line. I feel like that comes off as being a control freak or being a bit of a racist or being a bit of a, hypocrite. Just kind of like, you're going to stand for our country's national anthem, but Jerry Jones wears a hat throughout the anthem. So I don't, so Jerry Jones, what he said, it was just wrong, ignorant, disrespectful to what this is all about. So Jerry Jones said what he said, but in Dak Prescott's defense, this whole taking the knee for the national anthem, it started, with Colin Kaepernick back in 2016. So Dak Prescott said back then that I will stand for the national anthem, that I will stand for the national anthem. So this whole notion that he's only saying it because Jerry Jones is making him say it, that's false. Because Dak Prescott already announced, I will stand for the national anthem before Jerry Jones ever made any kind of public opinion about it. So that's false. So I feel like, hey, if you're going to criticize Dak, you got to point to the truth. And the truth is, he said he would stand for the national anthem before Jerry Jones gave an ultimatum. So yes, I understand that Prescott offended some of y'all with his comments, but I think his comments at the absolute worst was just misunderstood. I don't see what Dak Prescott said as disrespectful or, insensitive or ill-informed or misinformed, misguided. I don't see any of those. I don't think of any of those words when I read what Dak Prescott said. He did say he doesn't believe the national anthem is the time or place to protest. Do I agree with Dak Prescott? No, I don't. I think, the players have the right to take a knee. The players have every right to protest. I had no issue with what Kaepernick did. Now, I did voice my displeasure with his intentions. I feel like, Colin Kaepernick, his intentions were kind of ill-fated. It's just a little bit, but just I feel like I respect what he did. I just disagree with his intentions. So, Dak Prescott made his comments. I disagree with what Dak Prescott said. But do I think Dak Prescott was disrespectful? No, I don't think he meant to disrespect anyone. People were offended. But do I think what Dak Prescott said warranted the name calling? No. What Dak Prescott said, did it warrant disrespect? No. Is he a coon for what he said? No. So it's like, you have to understand, like, Dak Prescott just simply voiced his opinion of what he thinks. Because Dak Prescott did say, look, I'm down for the cause. I just feel like we should do something else. Y'all took a knee. And I have no issue with the knee. Me personally, I have no issue with it. And I disagree with what Dak Prescott said. But Dak Prescott did give his opinion. His respectful opinion. So, hey, he said, I would much rather go out there in the community and do things like that to provide that kind of change or spark that kind of opportunity to change things in the world. So, Dak Prescott just simply voiced his opinion on what should be done next. He feels like the knee was taken, the point was proven. Now let's move to the next phase of it. So that's what Dak Prescott really said. And I respect the fact that he was not going to back down for what he said. Dak Prescott said what he said. He got a lot of, racial insults thrown his way. And he said, look, I stand by what I said. I'm just saying we should try other things. So that's not disrespectful. That's Dak Prescott having his own opinion. That's Dak Prescott saying, look, this is how I feel. I mean, hey, I respect what you guys are doing, but this is how I feel. So I feel like you have to embrace that. So, and me, myself, I work with about, I would say, 7 or 8 veterans. Guys who served in the Vietnam War, guys that were in the, just in crazy, like Iraq, 9/11, all that stuff like that. They were in different wars. So I've talked to guys in the Navy, the Army, ex-Marine Corps guys. So it's like, I asked them, I said, hey, how do you feel about the anthem protest? And they told me to a man. Now, most of these guys, like maybe like 2 black guys, like 5 white guys, these veteran guys. So I asked all the white guys. I didn't ask the black coworkers. I asked the white guys. I asked them. I said, look, how do you feel about the players kneeling for the national anthem? And all 5 of them told me, look, we have no problem with the guys taking a knee, or protesting what they're doing. We just feel like we watch sports. And I agree with this point. Some people watch sports to escape the harsh realities of what's going on in the world. They see that football game. We all love football because it's a 3-hour break from reality. We don't think about work the next day. We don't think about our bad kids. We don't think about the bills being due. All we care about is being in front of a TV with some Sunday dinner and football being on. That's all we think about. So some people just want to watch football, and they don't mind protesting this and doing this and doing that for a better cause. They just want to do it a different way. They don't feel like the football game is the time to do it. And that's all Dak Prescott is saying. He's saying, look, I just simply think we should do something else. But what you guys are doing it for, I support that. And Dak Prescott expressed support for the cause. He didn't say Black lives don't matter. He didn't say, the cops killing us are right. He didn't say that. He just simply said, I think we should do something else. We should try another way to do things. So, me personally, in his defense, I don't think he was disrespectful. I don't think Dak Prescott was, being I'm not going to call the guy a coon or Uncle Tom because he voiced his opinion. No, I'm not going to say that. That's just overboard. And that, he didn't back down from his statements. He didn't criticize the cause. He didn't criticize what you guys are kneeling for. He just merely voiced his opinion on what he thinks should be, what he would want to do, what he thinks the other guys should do next, as to just keep taking the knee. Let's go out here in the community and do something about it. And some guys have done that. Malcolm Butler has been out here, outspoken and everything like that. Big ups to him. So it's like, hey, let's try something else. And that's what Dak Prescott was saying. And I believe, and I'm say this to my, my fellow people out there who are in the Black Lives Matter movement, who do support the kneeling, which I do. I have no problem with it, So I just feel like this: if you're someone that is a part of a movement, you have to be open to resistance. Not everybody is going to see your vision. Not everybody saw MLK's vision. Not everyone saw, Huey P. Newton's, vision at first. Not everyone saw Malcolm X's vision at first. Not everyone is going to always be down with your vision. Not everyone is going to always agree with what you stand for. And my thing is this: Dak Prescott voiced his opinion, and the response he got was racial insults, offensive pictures, offensive gestures. Like, that's what Dak Prescott got in return for voicing his opinion. So my question to you guys, and like I said, I 100% support the Black Lives Matter movement. I 100% support the anthem protests. Like, I have no issue with them. But we have to open our minds and hearts up to other guys' opinion. And for all of you guys out there, even my friends on Facebook, all you guys out there that call Dak Prescott a coon or Uncle Tom, answer me this: if you're calling Dak Prescott a coon or Uncle Tom, what does that make you? If Dak Prescott's a coon, what are you? I tell you, you're a bigot. A bigot is someone who is intolerant towards others trying to make changes. So because someone is because someone has a different opinion than you, because someone has a different opinion than what you feel, you're going to call them a name. So what if there was some kind of national debate going on where we're going to get 5 black people that say Black Lives Matter, and we're going to get 5 black people that say, 5 black people that say, okay, I'm down for the protest, and 5 will say I'm not down to protest. All right. And the guys who are anti-protest make their opening argument, and they tell you why they disagree with you. And your response is, you're a coon, bro. Stay woke, bro. If that's your response, how strong is your movement? You don't have a movement if you're going to call someone an insult or call someone a name because they simply disagree with what you feel. Dak Prescott just simply said, everyone has their own way of saying things. Not everyone can put it right there where you can understand right away. So some people misunderstood Dak Prescott's initial comments. He came back out and cleared them up again. So it's like Dak Prescott simply is saying, with all these words being thrown around, he's simply saying, hey, I support what you're doing. I just disagree with the way you're going about it. I just think we should do something else. That's not disrespectful. That's not, showing the middle finger to the cause. That's not. That's Dak Prescott saying, hey, I have an opinion. I like what you guys are doing, but I want to do something else. Not everyone is going to see your vision. And if you guys really want your movement to last, if you really want someone to respect where you're coming from, you have to be open to, to blowback. You have to be open to resistance. Not everyone accepted the civil rights movement. Not everyone accepted the Million Man March. Not everyone is going to see your vision. Even the ones close to you are not going to always see your vision. So if someone simply says, hey, I disagree with what you said or what you stand for, I just simply disagree with it, that doesn't make them a coon or Uncle Tom. It makes them a guy that has their own opinion. And hey, if Dak Prescott saying what he said makes him a coon, and all you guys is calling him a coon, that's fine. Go ahead, have your opinion. But just know you're a bigot. Just know if Dak Prescott's a coon, you're a bigot. And if you got a coon and a bigot arguing, you're not getting nowhere. You want to know why? Because you have a coon that you feel is insensitive and ill-informed about the cause. But then on this side, you got a bigot that's stubborn and stuck in his way, in his ways, and that is extremely intolerant to changes. So you got one guy that's insensitive. You got one guy who's stubborn. It's not going to work. It won't work. Yes. Black Lives Matter. Yes. They have the right to protest. Yes. MLK had the right to do what he did. Colin Kaepernick had the right to do what he did. Rosa Parks had the right to do what she did. But everyone else has the right to have their opinion about what you said or what you did. And Dak Prescott simply voiced his opinion. He didn't come out and say, this cause is worthless or I don't support it. He said, I support it. I just simply want to do it my own kind of way, or I'm just simply suggesting that we do it a different way. That's not disrespectful. If you really want a movement, if you're really down with a movement, and what you stand for and what you say and what you stand behind is really 100% true, then when someone questions it about you, when someone comes to you and they question your movement, you can stand up and say, you know what, dude? Here's why I think you got me wrong. And you say, here's why I think I'm right. And y'all can intellectually find the common ground to understand, hey, well, you know what? I see your point. I see your point. Thank you, Bit Ron. Like, it's the whole world has to change. The whole world needs improvement. Everyone has to hold themselves accountable. What Dak Prescott simply did was give his opinion. And if you think he's a coon, well, guess what? You're a bigot. The coon word is offensive. The bigot word is offensive. So, do I agree with what Dak Prescott said? I don't agree with it all, but I'm intelligent enough to read what he said and process it and say, well, you know what? I saw his point. I don't agree with that point, but I see what he meant by this. I don't feel him on this. I think he's dead wrong on this, but I got his back on this. So I feel like I could talk to Dak Prescott and intellectually tell him why these people are offended without calling the man a coon. I can say, yo, Dak, what you said, man, I don't agree with it. Now, they're going to call you names. I'm just simply here to tell you why I intellectually disagree with it. So, like I said, not everyone is going to see your vision. Not everyone saw MLK's vision. Not everyone saw Huey P. Newton's vision. Not everyone is going to see what you're up to at first. The great Ernie Davis, he wasn't down with the civil rights movement at first. He didn't want the controversy. But then but over time, he was educated by others and by himself of what it was all about, and he eventually took a stand. But initially, he didn't understand what it was all about. So not everyone is going to understand what you're talking about at first. Not everyone is going to get your vision of what you're saying. This Black Lives Matter movement, keep it going, man. Keep it growing. Keep it rolling. But what you're going to do every time someone simply says, hey, I disagree with what you stand for, if your response is always Coon and Uncle Tom and Brust and man, wake up, man, stay woke. If that's your response every time someone challenges you and challenges your movement, you have no movement. You have no movement if your response to every type of critique is an insult. Like, no, you can simply say, Dak Prescott, I think you're wrong. But no, what we want to do, call him a coon and shame him. And by the way, that artist that made that picture of Dak Prescott, I think you're very talented, brother. Or whoever you are, you're very talented. You're very ignorant too. You're very foolish too. Instead of shaming Dak Prescott, why don't you spray paint a message? Spray paint an intellectual message. Because if your response to someone's critique is an insult, they win. In a debate, if someone gives you their opening arguments and your response is personal attacks, you lost that debate. No matter how right you may be, you have to be willing to express what you're saying. It can't always be insults and coon this and coon that. It can't always be that. Sometimes you have to intellectually explain yourself. And if what you stand for is the truth, if what you really are saying is the truth, it can withstand the test of investigation, the test of scrutiny. You know? It can withstand that. I don't agree with everything Dak Prescott said, man. I think so. He not everything he said was right. But I wasn't offended by it. I wasn't pissed off by it. I wasn't going to call the man no name over it. I just simply went and got what Dak Prescott said. I read it word for word. So some of y'all just saw the part where he said we shouldn't protest. That's all y'all read. Y'all didn't read the part where he said I'm down with the movement. Y'all didn't read the part where he said I'm down with helping y'all out. I just want to do it outside of the stadium. I don't want to bring controversy to my workplace. Dak Prescott is making $500,000 right now. He's on the verge of making with endorsements and a brand new contract. He's on the verge of making about $300 million. So it's like, maybe Dak Prescott said, "Hey, look, I want to be down with y'all, but can I do it my own way? Can I bring a different solution to some of y'all?" Colin Kaepernick lost his job because of this. Colin Kaepernick lost his job for this cause. And he wants to play football again. But they won't let him. So it's like, hey, you have to fight your battle. All right? So like I said, man, Black Lives Matter, anthem protesters, I 100% support you. I got your back. But you got to stop, man. Because they're watching you. Donald Trump is a distraction. He's a distraction, man. Don't listen to him. The media is a distraction. They're going to play every little thing they can play up, man. Donald Trump and the media, they shouldn't matter. So look, man, get your own research done. 100% support, man. I'm behind it. But if y'all want this Black Lives Matter movement to last forever, if y'all want to bring real change, if you want to see real change, then you have to open yourself up to criticism and critiques. And someone just challenging you. They're going to challenge what you stand for. You don't think MLK got challenged for what he stood for? You're going to get challenged when you believe in something. They're going to question your belief in it. They're going to test your belief in it. And if your response to their test is ignorance. Oh, you said what? Oh, nah, bro, you a cool man. Uncle Tom ass dude, man. You a cool man. Forget you, dog. We're being exactly what they call us. Intolerant, impatient, volatile. That's our response to a simple quote by Dak Prescott. Donald Trump has said worse. But Dak Prescott gives his opinion, and he's a coon, Uncle Tom. Y'all do know Dak Prescott's half white, right? Half black. So his opinion goes beyond a whole bunch of other things. It ain't just the black father. He got a white mother. It ain't just the homies he know across the railroad tracks. It's the white guys he know across the railroad tracks. Dak Prescott can have a conversation in his locker room with Travis Frederick and Dez Bryant and this guy and that guy. He can talk to anybody in the locker room about anything. So his opinion about this matter is not just the black side of it. It's also the white side of it. He saw both sides of it growing up. So it's like, come on. I think the guy has the right to voice his opinion. And that's all Dak Prescott did. So look, everybody should be better. Let's all be better. White, black, Puerto Rican, Asian, whatever, Jamaican, Haitian, whatever you are, let's all be the best we can be individually. And maybe we'll see the change in the world. Be the change you want to see. And understand, whatever you believe in, whether it's Black Lives Matter or All Lives Matter or screw everybody, whatever you believe in, there's going to be people that challenge your vision, that's going to question your movement. And if you can't stand firm in what you believe in and intellectually fight the battle within, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. Like I said, man, it's your boy PC Williams, man. It's 1K Sports. You know, it's unfiltered, unbiased. You know, most of all, uncut, man. On just everything right there, man. So, like I said, man, Dak, you know, he said what he said. He didn't deserve the disrespect that he got in return from it, man. So, I respect the people that, you know, just simply, you know, can say, okay, Dak Prescott, I disagree, and here's why. But the insults are just too much, man. By insulting him, all we're doing is living up to what they already called us, man. So, like I said, it's your boy PC Williams, man. Thank y'all for all the support, man. Everyone that tuned in today, thank y'all for the support, man. We 5 deep right now, 5 episodes in right now, man. We going strong. We got so much great things coming up for y'all, man. So, y'all keep supporting, man. I'll keep posting, man. One love.